Good morning, everyone. My name is Shara Cunningham. I'm a LCMS missionary serving the Lord in Eastern and Southern Africa. I've been serving on the field now for 8 years. And being a missionary is not something that I ever thought about doing when I was younger. It was something that was far from my mind. I always had the desire to be a doctor and to help people. So I think my deep desire was to be a doctor from a child. I would put band-aids on people that got cuts in my family. I was always watching shows about being a doctor. I even studied biology in college. I had never met a missionary growing up. No missionaries came to my church. I grew up in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I never saw a missionary. And I know that many of you have had missionaries come to your congregations to speak about the work that they're doing in different countries around the world, and that has inspired many of you to maybe go on short-term mission trips and to even talk to missionaries more about what they're doing. But my calling to become a missionary was in God's own perfect timing. I remember it was a Sunday, and there was a group that got up and shared about a ministry moment about a trip to Peru, and they were encouraging people to go on the upcoming mission trip for the following year. And all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb went on in my head, like God whispered in my ear, "You should go." And I thought it odd because I had never thought about going on a mission trip before. So I went home later on that evening and I thought about it. I prayed about it. I wondered what that was about and what that even meant. But the desire grew stronger and stronger. So the following week or two, I believe, there was a meeting, and I went to the meeting and I got all the information and I prayed about it again because God kept whispering, "You should go." And so the time came, and I went to Peru, and I went on my very first mission trip. And my eyes were open to different things, things that I didn't understand. And so then I continued to pray about it. The following year, I went to Peru again. And ended up going to Peru for 3 years in a row. By the third trip, I ended up being a team leader. And that just kind of led to me going on mission trip after mission trip. I went to Mexico, I went to South Africa, I went to Uganda, I went to Rwanda. And that with and going on all those trips, my desire for missions just grew and grew. It was like a fire that was just ignited inside of me. And so I talked to my pastor about it. I talked to family and friends about it. And so I decided to pray about being a missionary and serving God long term. And God answers prayers in His perfect timing. I think it was about 2008 or so, I got the call to serve in South Africa. And it was one of the greatest moments of my life. It was difficult to leave home, but I went anyways. God, in His perfect timing, called me into His service. And I said before, it's been 8 years, and it's been a glorious 8 years. And I think for some of you, God may be calling you into His service, and it's something that you should pray about. In not only pastors have a special calling that calls them into His service, that calls them into seminary. Every person has a calling. Every person has a calling in the vocation that he or she may be serving in now, or something that's outside of what they're normally used to doing. If God is whispering in your ear, tapping you on your shoulder, I think you should answer that call. Maybe to go on a short-term mission trip, maybe to step out in a field that you've never ventured into before, but you should do it. God's timing is perfect, and I thank Him for His special call on my life as a missionary.